Hello, I'm Cheryl McCarthy of the City University of New York. Welcome to One to One. What little girl hasn't at some point dreamed of becoming a ballet dancer? And some little boys too. And while most of them will never make it to the School of American Ballet and a shot at dancing in the Nutcracker at Lincoln Center, they can hope to train and dance at the New York Theater Ballet. Part of the rich menu of artistic opportunities that New York City has to offer, the company has been around since 1978 and makes performing in hour-long ballets a reality for children, and performing classical and contemporary ballets a reality for talented adults. Diana Beyer is the theater's founder and artistic director, and we'll talk to her about the theater's mission and outreach. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
You know, as I said, there seems to be a wide variety of places where one can study and even perform ballet in New York City. You know, you got from the elite companies like the New York City Ballet and the American Ballet Theater, which have their own ballet schools. You have companies like the Ballet Theater of Harlem. You've got college-level dance programs like Juilliard's and Marymount Manhattan. You've got lower-level dance schools like the Lucy Moses School and the Harlem School of the Arts. And I would imagine there are quite a few, individual ballet teachers scattered around who offer lessons throughout the city. So why did you feel the need to start the New York Theater Ballet back in 1978?
Yeah. Well, my teacher was Margaret Krask, who is one of the great ballet masters. She came here from London, and she was a ballet mistress of the Sadler's Wells, which is now the Royal Ballet, and she was trained by Enrico Cicchetti. In fact, he had given her a certificate to keep teaching his method. And I studied with her on and off for 18 years.
She was here in New York?
Yes. Anthony Tudor, one of the great English choreographers, brought her to American Ballet Theater in 1946, I think. And over the years, she taught at the Metropolitan Opera when they had a ballet company. And then she had her own studio, the Manhattan School of Dance. And she taught the Cicchetti syllabus. And after I met her at Juilliard, I was a student at Juilliard and met her, and thought, I didn't really love the way she taught. I liked to do the tricks, and I wasn't put into her class in the beginning. But then, through one of my dance partners, I took one class with her, and for me, it was as though I had seen the light. It was just superb teaching and just what I was looking for. So I started the school really to continue her legacy.
Now, you are from New Jersey.
Yes.
How did you get involved with ballet from the beginning?
Well, I was a very chubby child, and I was so chubby that my mother had to have a dressmaker make my little dresses because they didn't make them wide enough. And the pediatrician said I should do exercise or I would be an obese adult. Excuse me. So my mother took me to dance. And from the first class, that's all I ever wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I studied in Trenton, New Jersey until I graduated high school and then went to Juilliard.
Okay. And you were a dance major at Juilliard?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the New York Theater Ballet has been described as a chamber ballet ensemble. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
Well, with our revivals, we do small ballets by great masters. Some ballets that haven't been seen for a long time but really deserve to be seen. Our performances are in intimate theaters. They're very personal. It's a different theatrical experience than if you're sitting at the Met or at the Coke. So it's a very kind of a personal experience.
Okay.
Is, I think, the best way to describe it. And the theaters are small. We usually play 400 seats or less.
Okay. So you wouldn't be doing the large ballets like Swan Lake or Giselle or those. What are some of the smaller classical ballets that you do?
Well, for the children, we do Cinderella. These are 1-hour ballets. Mm-hmm. Cinderella, Nutcracker, the Alice in Wonderland Follies, Mother Goose. And for our repertory evenings, we do a lot of Anthony Tudor. In fact, I think we have the most Tudor ballets in rep of any company.
Mm-hmm.
We do Frederick Ashton, we do Jerome Robbins. We make it a point to always produce at least one ballet by a young emerging choreographer, which we've been doing for years. So we're not doing Swan Lake, we're not doing, we do a Sleeping Beauty, a 1 hour Sleeping Beauty.
Okay. But it's basically
they're
the shorter ballet.
They're condensed, sometimes a little different take on the ballet with small casts, usually not more than 14 dancers.
Where do you perform?
Right now we're performing all over the city, in different theaters. In fact, this week we'll be at New York Live Arts. We perform in Dance Space, Florence Gould Hall, the Schimmel Center at Pace. We perform at the World Financial Center. So really throughout the city. And on tour, we go from coast to coast. And
You do tour?
Yes, and we've been to Europe.
Who teaches the dancers? The dances?
Well, for the ballets that we revive, that have already been done, we try to get original cast members. And we are doing Jerome Robbins' Antique Epigraphs, and Kira Nichols has been staging it for us, and she was in the original cast.
Okay.
And for new things, you know, we just, I try to identify young emerging choreographers that I think work in our aesthetic.
Okay.
And so they come and set a ballet or choreograph something very special for us.
Tell me about your career after you left Juilliard and before you started this company.
Well, even while I was at Juilliard, in the old days, New York City Ballet had a little touring company that was run by Eugene Tanner, and I was a part of that for several years. And then Manhattan Festival Ballet was a small company. It's very similar to what I do. It was very kind of intimate, smaller theaters. So I was with them. I was a dancer at Radio City when they had a ballet company, New York City Opera. I was with Les Grands Ballets Canadiens in Canada. So just an eclectic career.
Okay, all over.
A lot of guesting.
One characteristic, I mean, I was looking at your website of your company, is that the prices are affordable.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
One of our missions. Well, I want everybody to be able to see theater and dance. And I think dance, because it encompasses so many art forms, you know, it's design, it's choreography, it's music, it's sometimes literature. I want to make it possible for everyone to come. And we also do a free ticket program. We have a program called Lift Community Services that I started in 1989. And it began as a program for children living in homeless shelters that were offered scholarships and other things for good creative learning. And I've tried to continue that with our tickets as well.
Is that for them to come and see ballet, or is it for them to study
Both.
ballet?
Study ballet, see ballet, do well in school. It's kind of everything.
So how do you find these children, and how many?
In the beginning, Skylar Chapin was director of the Department of Cultural Affairs, and they had a program where over the winter break they bused about 30 to 35 children from specific shelters to different arts organizations, and we were one of the organizations. And that's how it started.
Okay.
And it was a 1-week program where the children came and we served a hot breakfast. They got a beginner ballet lesson. Then we worked for an hour on reading skills and vocabulary, and then a hot lunch. And I had set up a room with 3,000 books so that they could choose 20 books a day and bring them home. So it was about education and dance.
Right.
And from that, I chose children that showed talent and real interest, and they got full scholarships to our school. And that went on for quite a few years. And then that program just kind of disappeared. I don't know why, but it wasn't continued after a number of years, and I just kept it going.
So what form does it take now? Do they?
Well, I audition children wherever I can, and people know us, so sometimes they send us children that might fit well into the program. And we follow them in school, make sure their grades are good, they get their lessons. It depends on their level. It can be 1 day a week or 5 days a week, depending on their level. We've raised money to send some very gifted children to private school if they weren't doing well in school.
And these are kids who are in shelters? Or-
Well, in the beginning, for many years, we did take the children right from the shelters,
Right.
and they kept coming when they went into public housing. Now it's a little bit more difficult, and I work with different public schools that send us children, or I go into the school and audition.
Okay. And would they generally have one lesson a week, or?
Well, it depends on their level. Usually it starts 1 or 2 lessons a week, and then
Okay.
as they progress, it can be up to 4 or 5 lessons a week.
Okay.
And
Have
the
you
children-
had any from that program who have gone on to pursue a career
Yes.
or degree?
Yes.
Really?
One of our principal dancers, Stephen Melendez, came from the second year that we had the program, and he's danced all over the world. He was a finalist in the Rudolf Nureyev competition. He was a finalist in the Clive Barnes competition. He's danced everywhere.
Wow. How many kids would go through the LIP program in the course of a year?
We usually have between about 30. It can
Okay.
go from 25 to 35 depending on the year,
Okay.
depending on how many children continue and how many openings we have.
Okay. So that's one aspect of your program.
Yes.
Another is obviously there's a professional company.
Yes.
How big is it? What are the requirements to be eligible? Tell me about that.
Well, the company is 12 dancers. They're on full contract. Again, depending on the year, it can go 40 weeks. Sometimes it can go down to 30 weeks. Usually the average is 35 weeks of employment a year. And people either come up through the school, or if nobody is coming up through the school and we happen to have an opening, I hold an audition, open call audition. And I hopefully find dancers at the audition, but we have very little turnover. Usually it's maybe 1 available place per year, every now and then 2.
We're going to take a short break. Then we'll be back after this message with more with Diana Beyer, Artistic Director of the New York Theatre Ballet. Welcome back to One to One. I'm Cheryl McCarthy of the City University of New York, and I'm talking with Diana Beyer, Artistic Director of the New York Theatre Ballet. We were talking about your professional company. Where do you find your dancers?
Well, if I don't have dancers coming up through the school, we hold a open call audition. So I'll audition, but we have little turnover, so usually it's just 1 a year, maybe 2 dancers a year.
Okay. And do they come from all over, or?
Yes, all over the world.
And what are you looking for in a ballet dancer?
It's an interesting question. I'm looking for somebody who knows how important a simple gesture is, that it's not just about technique, that it's about kind of a generosity to the public that comes to see our performances. I mean, I always think that's really what art is. It's something you give away to other people. So someone who understands that, certainly they have to have a serviceable technique, but a real musicality and just an understanding of how a gesture can tell a story, and also people that are willing.
I have noticed, I'm a ballet fan, and I have noticed that all New York City ballet companies seem to have at least some dancers from Latin America, somebody from New Jersey, and somebody from the South. I wonder why that is.
It's so funny, you're right on. I'm not really sure, but I think probably they might not have a lot of dance companies where they come from. So they come to New York where there are so many companies, or other companies in the United States. Houston Ballet, San Francisco. There are people from all over the world in ballet companies in the United States. Some of our dancers come from New York. Stephen Melendez is one of our principal dancers. He's from the Bronx. He's been with me since he was 7 years old and came from our LIFT program. Elena Zalman, another principal dancer, is from Brick, New Jersey, and she's been with me for 15 years. We have dancers, unusually, I think, that are college graduates that have had college education and have danced right through their college. We have an American citizen who grew up in Germany who's in the company. It's 5 men, 7 women.
Okay.
In the company. We have a young girl who just turned 16 who's come up through the school.
Mm-hmm.
It's her first professional job.
Wow, and you said the company travels.
Yes, we do. We've traveled coast to coast, and we've been to Hungary, Guatemala, Italy, let me think, where else? Virgin Islands. And we have, I think, an interesting repertory that people are interested in, that a lot of companies don't have a similar repertory.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've got the LIFT program, we've got the company, and then you have your ballet school.
Yes.
Because I assume it's not, in the school you would have not just the LIFT kids, but you would have others.
Right. It's
others
just
as
a
well.
regular school, and if a LIFT child's in this school, they're integrated into the regular class.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know, but nobody else does.
Right.
And yeah, we have just regular students, but it's a very serious school. It's not a recreational school.
Uh-huh.
Children are really there to study dance.
Okay. What's the earliest, the youngest age at which you would take them?
We have a pre-ballet class that's 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, and it's more teaching learning skills, getting them ready. They learn to recognize a tarantella, a waltz, a march. And, there's live music in every class, and then they grow up into the ballet 1, into the ballet 2, into the ballet 3.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very serious training, and it's in the Giacchetti syllabus.
Okay. You said it's very serious, so if a child is not really serious about, I mean, can anybody come and take ballet lessons? Do you have kids who get kicked out because they're not serious?
In the pre-ballet, as long as there's room in the class, we take everyone. But once they're 8 years old, then it's by audition or interview.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Auditioning at 8 years old.
Yeah.
That's really something. So where's the school located?
We're at St. Mark's Church in the Bowery, where they have dance space, and it's 131 East 10th Street.
Now, do you find more boys these days showing an interest in ballet, or is it overwhelmingly little girls, or what?
For us, we have more boys than we used to have, but it is more girls.
Okay. Okay.
And I think it's still, not so much in New York, but in other small cities, ballet still doesn't attract a lot of boys.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think you're getting more boys?
Now, I think people are just more open
Uh-huh.
to it. It's a real career for a man.
Right. And I assume that do the students in your school perform?
Yes. We have ballets that have specific special roles for children. A lot of our 1-hour ballets that we do for family audiences have roles for children. So children do perform with us, really on a very steady basis.
With the company, with the professional
with the company.
Okay.
And we do a program called Dance on a Shoestring. It's in-house, and twice a year the children produce their own program. They
Okay.
do the lighting. They work with our lighting designer. Many of them know how to run a board. They work with our music director. They work with our costume designer, and they do their own choreography and produce a whole program.
Mm-hmm. How big an organization are we talking about? How many on your staff? What kind of budget are we talking about?
We're very small. We have a staff on full-time of myself and 3 others that are full-time basis, and then we have part-time staff.
Okay.
As well. We have a music director, a grant writer. We're a small organization. We survive on a shoestring like many small arts organizations in a major city.
And where does your funding come from?
We're very grateful to NYSCA, the DCA, the NEA, And then family foundations, we have Macy's, State Street, and several family foundations that supported us for many years, and then our individual friends who are really part of our family.
Tell me about the process of starting a ballet company. How do you start it? How do you build it? And have you evolved over time?
Well,
I can't even imagine.
I started by accident. It was nothing I ever wanted to do. I had been dancing in Canada. A couple other dancers that were pupils of Margaret Crass were dancing in Europe. We all came back at the same time. And some of the boys decided they wanted to choreograph, and they wanted to use the same dancers, and they had planned separate concerts. And I thought, this is really kind of silly. Why don't we do one, and each person who wants to choreograph do one ballet, and we'll put together an evening. And everybody was kind of on board for it. And I said, okay, I'll do the paperwork for now. And so we did it, and it was successful. And I said, okay, I will do it for 3 months, and then you have to find a director. And the 3 months turned into now 37 years.
Wow.
And it's nothing I knew how to do. I made many mistakes along the way, but I felt it was worthwhile, and we just kind of kept going. It wasn't a real plan to start. So,
with the appointment of Misty Copeland to a principal's position at American Ballet Theater, there's been a lot of discussion lately about the almost total absence of African Americans from the world of ballet. What are your thoughts about why that is?
For us, it never was there. We always had everyone. I think that people always thought that it started out as a European art form, and it just continued that way. And I think people weren't open to it. It's kind of, art forms reflect society. And I think it's reflected society like other art forms. And now it's reflecting society of today. And people are seeing where the problem is, and they're finally doing something about it. But I think it really does reflect what's going on in the world.
Now, the audience, I understand that the audience for classical music, generally, whether orchestra performances, piano and voice recitals, seem to have been declining in recent years. How would you describe the state of ballet in the country? Are there more people interested? Are there fewer people interested? Is it holding its own?
I think it's the same. I think audiences are dwindling. And I think the struggle is to try and find a way to get young people in the seats, to have young people be interested in the arts, in live art, and not something that they can watch on their iPhone or on their computer or on Netflix, to really get them in the seats, because the experience of live theater is very different than watching it on a screen. And I think it's important for, I don't know, your soul. It sounds so silly to say, but it's just that experience, the immediacy of it is very important to experience in a lifetime. And the trick is, how do we do it? And I think many organizations are struggling with that.
What do you do? What do you think that, to talk about your ballet students, what do you think ballet does for the young person who studies and performs it?
Well, discipline is the first thing. Working in an ensemble, learning how your behavior affects everyone else in the room. It's not just about you. It's about everyone around you. And it's about, once again, I always like to use the word generosity, that they're on stage, and it's not about them. It's not about how important they feel because they're in the theater and they're on stage. It's about what they give to the people in the audience. And I think it's real life lessons, whether it's music or dance or really any art form. They're important life lessons.
So what are your goals going forward?
Oh gosh, that our company survives in this really difficult time, difficult funding, difficulty bringing in an audience, that we survive and that we always continue to have something to offer to the public and something that's meaningful and worthwhile, and just to keep it what we're doing and hopefully grow. I'd like to have the LIFT program grow. I think there's a huge need for it because it's different than a lot of the other programs. It's, again, very individual. It's very one-on-one, which is different. And to bring more emerging choreographers to produce their ballets so that they can be in a small company and take risks that they can't in major companies. And to have more and more people see what we do.
Well, you've been around for 38 years,
Yeah.
so you've held on that long. And I certainly hope that for the sake of the people who come through there and who might get a chance to see you, that you're around a lot longer.
Thank you so much.
We're out of time. I want to thank Diana Beyer, the Artistic Director of the New York Theatre Ballet. If you'd like to learn more about the organization, go to its website at nytb.org. For the City University of New York and One to One, I'm Cheryl McCarthy. If there are any people you'd like to hear from or topics you'd like us to explore, please let us know. You can write to me at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016, or you can go to the website at cuny.tv and click on Contact Us. I look forward to hearing from you.